All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Lisa from PosterMyWall, and welcome to Learn with PosterMyWall. Today, our special guest is Leonard Patterson from the Artist Collective. Now that live events are starting up again, and some regions of the world at least, and now it's time for artists and musicians and bands to ramp up their marketing. We are so excited to get back to live events. And Leonard is going to give you some tips and show you some ways that you can do that by sharing examples of best-in-class music marketing that's going to help you to promote your upcoming gigs and concerts. But first, let us know who's here and where you're from. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. Susie and Audrey, my colleagues who are helping out with the tech and with the Facebook chat, are in the San Francisco Bay Area. And Leonard lives in sunny Southern California. So what if you could get your fans fired up? I mean, really fired up. So fired up that not only do they want to come back to your live shows, but they want to tell their friends to come to your live shows. That's what we're going to talk about today. Over the next 30 minutes, Leonard is going to share some case studies of marketing approaches other bands have used to get the word out to their fans, campaigns that have gotten those fans so fired up that they've spread the word to their friends. Our hope is that you'll leave with ideas that you can adapt and use to get your band's next concert or gig or performance the attention that it deserves. Leonard is content marketing lead at Artist Collective, where his role is to help musicians, artists, and creative build content strategies to create profitable music brands. He's an expert in optimizing websites and social media, email marketing, and monetizing live streams. He's also the author of 365 Live Stream Ideas for Musicians, a creative resource guide for sharing fun, practical, and profitable live streams. Before Leonard starts off, Susie, who is with us today?
I'm not seeing any commentary with people's location, but if you drop them in, we can say hi to you later.
Say hi to you later. All right. Well, great. And if you have any questions for Leonard or for PosterMyWall, please do put them in the comments. And if we don't answer live today, we'll get back to you in the next 24 hours. And as always, people usually ask us, will there be a replay? And yes, this video is going to live here on our Facebook page, and we'll also put a copy of it on our PosterMyWall blog and on YouTube. So you can come back and watch at your convenience as many times as you'd like, or share it with your friends.
So Leonard, Lisa, I just refreshed. Oh, so sorry. I did refresh my screen, and we've got some people joining us from Washington, D.C. Karen didn't say where she's from. We got somebody from Slave Lake, Alberta, and let's see, a few others coming in, but we can get to those in a bit.
All right. So welcome, Leonard. Let's get started. I'm going to hand over the screen to you.
Awesome. Hello, hello. And I need to, now let me ask you, am I already sharing? I need to share now, don't I?
You need to share.
Yeah, let me, 1 second here. Thank you so much. Let's go here. We're going to share.
It's good.
Looks good?
Yep, you're sharing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. Let me move just a couple of windows around. And yes, I am actually here in Southern California, but I'm actually from Indianapolis, Indiana. So I've had a chance to be a booking agent out there, as well as be in a band for 12, 13 years, and had a chance to do hundreds of shows and have a chance to help thousands of bands book shows and things like that. So I'm really excited that music is coming back. It's actually something that I miss and something that I would like to get back to. So one of the things that is really fun about this, this period of time, I should say, what's really relieving about this period of time is the fact that, we do get a chance to enjoy potentially like a fun summer and get back to some sense of normal and being able to go out and see the bands that we miss and things like that. And, as I mentioned, I was in a band myself. I got a chance to perform on stage for, like I said, over a decade with my wife. And we had a chance to just have fun, do all kinds of events, whether it was a club gig or a bar gig, or, we had a lot of private events and corporate events that we did. And one of the things that was very common was just our schedule was so busy that we really didn't know, or we didn't have a lot of time to promote every single event all the time. So, but now, like I said, we are in Southern California, and we have a little boy. He is almost 2. That is us and our son, Lyndon. And yes, he is also looking ready. He's also looking forward to summer, although I'm not sure how many bands we're going to take him to see at his young age, but we'll get to that potentially. But one of the most common problems that I've seen as a booking agent and just as someone who helps artists with their branding and their promotion right now is the fact that, and stop me if you've heard this before, I should say, raise your hand if you've heard this before, but musicians and bands spend most of their time in their comfort zone, obviously, and that is making music and booking gigs, which a lot of times leaves very little time and effort towards marketing. But we're wearing a lot of hats. We've got the booking, we've got the promotion, we've got the practice. All of those things are go into putting these gigs together and putting our shows together. It's likely that the marketing might take a back seat. But at the same time, Henry Ford, I love this quote, but it says, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So thinking about how we are now coming out of this pandemic and thinking about how we want to maybe look at our promotion and our marketing maybe a little bit differently. It's one of the reasons I love PosterMyWall. And I have been a PosterMyWaller. I just made that up. I did not get that term approved, but I'm just going to go with it. But I have been a PosterMyWaller for years. These are actual flyers and promotional posters and social media posts that I've created over the years for the band that I was in, which was Living Proof, and other artists that I work with. But when it comes to marketing, I'm always looking for the most efficient way that I can help my bands promote. And actually, when we were in our band, I was always looking for ways to streamline that process because I knew that I didn't have the time to spend on marketing as much as I did having to get the band together. And we were an 8-piece band, so there were a lot of, as you can imagine, there were a lot of issues and things with just keeping the band together, let alone getting on stage. So here's the good news. As we all know, it's been a rough year, over a year for everyone and not just musicians. But the good news is this: live music and in-person events are back. Some fans are really anxious to get back to some version of normal. Not everybody, but a lot of them are. And we're just in time, as I mentioned, for summer. So summer is usually one of the busiest times of the year, regardless of your market, just because there's festivals and people are able to get out and there's more versions of events and things like that can happen. So that's the good news. The not so good news, or at least what we want to be working towards, is that it actually may be harder to stand out than it used to be. Everyone has been focusing online, so there's been a lot more attention to promotion and things like that. So it could be a little bit harder to stand out now than it was pre-pandemic. And then there's also going to be a section of fans that may not feel comfortable at certain shows. So they may not feel comfortable going to that inside gig. They might not be comfortable in large crowds. And with that, the competition might also be higher due to the fact that depending on where you're at in your market, there's a lot of venues that didn't make it through this. So the competition for those weekend slots or even some of those recurring gigs and things like that, the competition is going to be higher. So if we can take some time to really focus on what we're going to be promoting and how we're promoting it and actually be able to connect with our fans and get them excited, then, that's all I want for Christmas. So what we're going to cover today is hopefully going to help you get over that hump. And I'll also share with you at the end, we've got some resources that you'll be able to get of all the things that we'll talk about here in the presentation. So what we're going to talk about It's how to use an easy template to map out promotions for your upcoming gigs. And it's called a Tic Tac Toe template. And it's just something I made up that I hope is helpful. But I'll show you that in just a second. And then I'm going to show you some examples of indie bands that are creating new types of experiences for their fans and also potential clients. So one of the most common things I would hear as a booking agent was, hey, you know, we're playing our club gigs, we're playing this. I'd really love to play some more private events. And obviously those are more money. So we've got some examples of, I've actually got one specific example I want to show you of an artist who's getting really creative with coming back to shows and just being conscious of the environment that we're in. And then lastly, a couple of examples of how to get your audience excited to share your shows, to come to your shows and just get them excited in general about the fact that you're back, okay? So we'll just cover these things in the last few minutes that we've got here. But I would love to know in the chat, how do you currently promote your upcoming gigs? Just drop something in the comments there. Is it flyers? Is it video? Is it email? Like, what's your main source, social media? Tell me what your main source of promoting your upcoming gigs are. I'd love to know in the chat, and we can maybe chime in at the end and just see what people shared. So here's what I want to do. I want to introduce you to this template. Again, it's called a Tic Tac Toe template. And all it is just a way to maybe take a more holistic way of looking at how and where you can promote your shows. And this is what it looks like. Oh, actually, I've got a couple of examples here. Sorry about that. We've got a couple examples of some great bands actually in Chicago that are actually promoting their upcoming shows, and, you know, the whole summer vibe and just being visual with your actual promotions is obviously going to be something that you want to do. So when it comes to, as I want to mention this, when it comes to promoting your gigs, actually I want to also mention this. This template that I'm going to show you has all of these kind of conditions in mind. So when you're promoting your gigs, you want to consider the lead time and the frequency. So if you've got a huge event at this really killer music venue and tickets are $15 and all of your other gigs are, you know, at a smaller venue that's no cover, that people are always there, just one of the things that we would always have to like talk about and decide on during the course of a week or a month was how much effort we were going to put into each gig. And that might have been how many posts we were going to do, if we were going to create an actual Facebook event for it or not, which we created them for most of them, but sometimes we didn't. But your lead time and your frequency is going to determine maybe how much you're actually able to promote a gig without actually competing with other events that you've got on your calendar. And as I just mentioned, you want to think about any friction. Like, is this a gig that's out of state or out of your actual scene that it might be difficult to get your fans to go to? Is there a ticket price where that might be some sort of friction for someone that would normally just come and see you? And then, as I mentioned, you also want to take into account other gigs that are close. And when I say close, I also mean in proximity and timing. So if you've got four gigs in a row, 4 gigs in one weekend, like in a row, that's one thing. You know, being able to think about, okay, which one of these needs the most push, and then creating an event for that one. And, you know, maybe the other ones are in a combined post, but that's just some of the stuff that we would consider on a weekly basis when we were promoting our gigs, especially in the summer, because we would, at the time we were doing, you know, 15, 16 shows a month. So that's literally almost one every other day. So take into account the other gigs and the proximity and the timing, and using that kind of filter, then that's when you can take a look at this Tic Tac Toe promo template. And all this is just a simple way to look at a couple of things. Across the top, you've got when the gig is actually happening or when you're actually promoting. And then across the side, you've got where you're actually going to be promoting. So across the top is literally before, during, and after the gig. And then down the side is online, offline, and inbox. And so obviously up until just a few weeks ago, the offline, which is back actually the in-person version of that, wasn't too much of a consideration for a lot of people. So what I did was just I wanted to just present you with this simple way just to kind of map out your promotion. And then what we've got are some examples of things that you would consider in each of these. And luckily, we know a company that has some templates that can help you out with most of, if not all of these. So thinking about online real quick. So online, prior to the gig, you might be looking at, as we just mentioned, your Facebook events or social media events. You might be thinking about video invites. I'll show you an example here in just a few minutes of Atina, who uses video invites from practice to get people to her shows. And then also there's paid ads as well. So these are things that you can do prior to your gig online to get people there. During, you can always go live, do live streams. Actually, we've got Nikki as an example below, who's bringing her crowd into her shows, her online crowd to her live shows. She's doing a great job at that. But then also social sharing during the show, making sure that you're capturing photos and things like that. And then after, that's when you're going to repurpose. So you're going to take content from that gig. And we always looked at the post-show ritual as we're going to make you sorry that you weren't here. Not in like a vindictive way. I'm not getting crazy, but I'm saying like in a, we really wish you were here, and we're going to post really fun pictures, and we're going to share some video, and we're going to make you wish you were here, and also let you know when our next show is. So that is, I think that's one of the opportunities that we miss the most sometimes, is capturing what happens at the event or at the show, and always using the show that you're at in some way, shape, or form to promote the next one that you've got. It's never just one show. Okay. If you're going to quote me on anything, quote me on that. There's never just one show. So if you get booked for a gig, use that to promote some other ones. Okay. So we'll just flip through these last few here. Offline, obviously there are venue posters, and PosterMyWall has amazing poster designs that you can share and that you can customize very easily. Gig cards, invites, tickets, and gig cards are basically just little postcard size things that we would have our upcoming gigs and our website and stuff. And we would hand them out at our gigs. They'd be on the stage. As you can see there after the show, that's one of the things that we would use as conversation starters, is being able to hand people their cards. Hey, where are you playing at next? Hey, here, take this, as opposed to me just telling you. And, some people might have been a little bit inebriated to even remember, but merch and things like that are obviously also great things to be thinking about as well. But all of those are offline or in-person things that you're going to do face-to-face with people. And then some examples of inbox are basically email, could be messenger, it could be an SMS list or text list and things like that. So you can schedule some things to happen like right before you go on, and send some follow-ups afterwards and things like that. But we do have a link that we'll share that I've actually got a Google Sheets version of this for you that you can customize and just kind of brainstorm and some things like that, and kind of like be able to like have a broader view of like maybe what your promotion is going to be. So we'll be able to give you a template of this and hope you enjoy it. So that is the Tic Tac Toe promo template. I am a fan of alliteration, so anytime I name something, I'm going to try and see if there's a way to actually have it all start with the same letter, but that's just me. Also irrelevant to this presentation. We're moving on. So prior to the event, don't mind me, prior to the event, one of the things that I wanted to emphasize is, even though it might seem mundane, and even though it might seem something that's just very basic, there are so many things that are being updated now with Facebook and events and things like that. So there are several benefits of creating a Facebook event. For example, it allows fans to raise their hand. So if you think that you're annoying fans by always posting on your Facebook feed or your actual Facebook wall for your music page, if you're able to actually create a Facebook event, it allows fans to raise their hand, say that they're interested. And then when you make updates in the event itself, everyone who's clicked on that event is going to get notified. So it's kind of a way to help you filter from your feed down to the event, like you know that these people are interested. And then also it helps you track RSVPs and, like I said, interested fans. So you could message folks and just say, hey, just wondering, maybe what song we should start with, or you can start conversations with them in the event. So don't overlook the benefits of the Facebook events. It is one of the things that can help you actually reach your fans and have them signify that they're ready to come to your event. A couple of artists as examples here. Like we just mentioned, they allow you the flexibility and options to engage with your fans before the show. Some attractive looking templates here. Vinny Hines is actually one of the co-owners of Artist Collective, the company that I work with. But also you may not know if you haven't used it yet, but if you do have several gigs, or maybe you've got a weekly gig, you do have the ability to create multiple dates of the same event within Facebook. So that is one of the things that allows you to have like a placeholder. And then like once the date for one event passes, then the event stays the same, but the date will change as the next upcoming date. So you can get people that might not have been able to come one week, but they're ready to come the next. And then there are some amazing Facebook event templates that you can customize. There's thousands of templates on PosterMyWall. So if you see this picture, for example, Kevin White, you'll literally be able to go in and swap out a picture of him, of you, and have it look just as amazing as it does there. So lots of great flexibility and things that you can incorporate in PosterMyWall. Okay. And then I also wanted to mention a couple of social sites, non-social media sites that you might want to consider posting on. So non-social sites like Bands in Town. Bands in Town has been around forever, but they keep making upgrades and they keep coming up with new solutions. One of the more recent things that they've done is integrated with Amazon Alexa. So if, for example, you have your dates listed there, people would be able to say, hey, when is the next, PosterMyWall show? What concerts are going on in Chicago today? Hey, Alexa, who is playing Indie Tavern tonight? So if you got your dates listed on Bands in Town, that's just one way to be able to reach people. And there's obviously a lot of activity on the site, but also be able to have people search for you by voice. Eventbrite basically has a ton of organic traffic, and you'll be able to integrate your ticketing there if you've got paid tickets and things like that. So Eventbrite is an awesome website to think about. And then also Songkick. I don't have it listed here, but Songkick actually helps you list. It actually shows up on your concerts tab in Spotify. So if you have original music that you've put out there and you've also got dates coming up, if you list your events on Songkick, it'll show up in the concerts tab on your Spotify for artists. Okay. Okay. So we've got just a few minutes left. So I want to take you through just a couple more examples of some indie artists that are doing some great things and how they're actually making their events feel new and actually approaching them with a new twist now that we're coming back. As I mentioned before, Brett Wiscons, artist from Indianapolis, he actually partnered with some, what do you call them, hospitality specialists, and he's created basically a website called Season Sounds, and they're booking what he calls culinary concerts. So it's music plus food, It's basically a house show where he is promoting it as basically a house concert with a small catered event. So if there's people out there that aren't comfortable going in large crowds and things like that, he's created this new dynamic that he can pitch to his artists, or actually pitch to his clients. And he's doing really well with it, actually. But he kind of took that whole thing and shifted it. So it's been great for him. And then Nikki, I'm going to say Safoni. She is actually, as I mentioned before, she had been doing tons of live streaming during the pandemic. And now that live shows are back, she was always on stage. What she's done is she's made a very conscious effort to not stop live streaming. So she's actually bringing her live stream fans with her. So she'll talk about where she's at. And then she's like, hey, thanks so much for watching. I'm streaming from a live gig, so I can't consistently look at the chat and that kind of stuff. But people are commenting. I've been on there commenting and stuff. And she's also got a searchable song list that you can make requests and things like that. So she's been really taking advantage of her live streaming experience and bringing that in to her stage experience. So that's been awesome. And speaking of awesome, depending on what you're doing, depending on what you are trying to create, again, these are just a few examples of some of the templates that are available on PosterMyWall. So Jazz and Food Night, obviously looking at, they've got tons of summer themed templates on there that you can take advantage of, or themed nights in terms of music and things like that. So again, we'll have resources for you, but just thousands of templates that you can choose from, okay? All right, so just a few minutes left, but how can you get fans excited about your gigs? Let me know in the comments, what are some of the things that you do, that you think that you do to get your fans excited? Do you do something in addition to creating an event or sharing something on social? Is it in your copy? Is it something that you type? Is it something that you do? Or do you do like Atina? And what she does is she actually does video invites. And then you'll see here in a second, it'll transform to her afterwards. But she'll actually use video to invite her fans. In this video that you're looking at now is her at a practicing for an event. And then after the event, she's still in her makeup, still like literally right after the show. She went on live and she's got just a really simple template that she made, but basically a way to say thank you. So she's using video, and it's not even, I think the first one was live stream, but I think this one was recorded. But she's using video in a way that just allows people to connect with her more easily and allows fans to see her emotion and know that she's really thankful and basically have fun with her. So if you haven't used video or haven't thought about using video in that way, think about doing video invites as a way to really connect with your fans and let them know that you're excited about the show and that they should be excited about the show, okay? And then we talked about some non-social sites, but I also wanted to mention using video and using some of the actual video templates in PosterMyWall, where you can actually use videos as a part of your promotion. So I think that one played relatively quickly, but that's just a really quick motion template. There's tons of motion templates out there that you can use, but I also wanted to say, don't forget to promote on multiple socials. So I think each one of these is Facebook, and the two on the right are actually Instagram. So thinking about that promo grid and the Tic Tac Toe promo template and when you're going to promote, but also thinking about where you're going to share it on social. And I will say this, you don't have to be everywhere on social media, but just be conscious of where most of your fans are hanging out and then start there. And then if you want to share your promotions out in other medias, other platforms, that's great. But start where your fans are, because that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. So sharing your promotions across your socials, and obviously, as I mentioned a couple of times before, there are thousands more templates available and ready for you to customize on PosterMyWall. And as I mentioned, I've been a PosterMyWaller for several years. And one of the reasons that I am is because it's one of the few sites, and I'm not going to mention any competitors on this, but it's one of the few, if not only sites that I've been on that has a section specifically for bands. So if you go and PosterMyWall, and I think it's search or whatever the drop down is, I think it might be, maybe Susie will help me, or Lisa, maybe someone help me, but there's literally a menu for bands. So you can go on there and search for band templates, not just social media templates, not just that. So it's one of the reasons that it's very easy to get in and get out, and keep your focus on your music and keep your focus on booking the gig. So highly recommend the tool. So I just wanted to say that because I'm not just some random music guy coming in to like share some stuff. I actually use the platform. So the last thing that I wanted to leave you with is, I know that it can get tough. I know that we threw a lot of stuff at you. I know that there are a lot of things outside of music that might be, impacting your motivation or whatever. But I just want to encourage you that there are fans waiting to hear your music and enjoy your events. I mentioned that we were in a band for, over a decade. Well, it's been probably 7 years now since we were actually on stage, but we have some of our best friendships and some of our best connections with people that we happened to meet while we were in the band, and it became about more than the music. So if you've got the opportunity to connect with fans, use your music and use those events to get out there and spread some happiness, especially now. We're all looking for some positivity, and music is one of the things that connects us all. So you've got a gift, and I would really love for you to share it. Okay. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. We do have some resources for you here. They may drop them in the comments. I think if not, I'm pretty sure they will, but artistcollect.com/PMW for free resources. And then I will also come in afterwards and I can drop a link to the book if you'd like to pick that up when we're talking about live streaming as well. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, Leonard. I think you've given us all some great ideas. And what I think is so interesting is how video has really become a must-have for music marketing. Susie, do we have any questions?
You know what? We have a lot of love, but no questions right now. But if you do have questions, drop them in the chat and they will get answered.
All right, terrific. So Audrey is going to share the link to that extra information or the extra bonus content. And that does include a template for the Tic Tac Toe chart, which I just love because it's the most simple before, during, and after marketing grid that I've ever seen. And again, please do, if you have questions, put them into the chat and we will answer. We'll be looking back for the next 24 hours. We do have a deal for you today. We have a promo code, music30. And so if you are a new subscriber to PosterMyWall, you can get a quarterly or a full year premium subscription or premium plus, or you can upgrade from premium to premium plus. So just use that promo code, music30. Also, one of the things Audrey's going to post in the chat is links to some of our music templates. If you are new to PosterMyWall, for completely free, you can click on that template and go in and change copy, add your own photos, just play with it and see what PosterMyWall is like. So we would really encourage you to do that. We will be back again next Wednesday with our next PosterMyWall session. That will be a tutorial, cool photo and video effects. And that will be again, June 16th at our normal time, 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time. So that is it for now. Thank you, Leonard, and thank you all for joining us. We hope everybody has a great day.